Good morning, fellow bookworms, book hoarders, and lovers and creatives. Wishing you all a bright and happy Wednesday. Today is episode 51 of the podcast, and we've got another great guest for you today. Now, we are coming off from the hype and the frenzy and the success and the fun that was MIBF, or the Manila International Book Fair. This was held at the SMX Convention Center for 5 days last month, and it was a great way to meet new and returning readers. Now, for those who supported my Dark District primer, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And also to Literary Titan, because that very duology that you have in your hands that was released garnered a Silver Book Award. Now, say what you want about the kind of recognition, but an award is an award, and it does feel great and it feels validating. So, my question to you, fellow creatives, this week is how important it is for you to have that kind of recognition. Do you write for awards, or do you write because the story calls to you, the characters speak to you, and they feel that they have their own story to tell, and no one else can tell that story except you? All right. Let me know in the comments what you think about today's episode. And without further ado, here it is, episode 51 of the Urban Fantasy PH podcast. Enjoy.
Welcome to Urban Fantasy PH. We are creatives who live in an urban society and give readers wish fulfillment by way of our stories, which is fantasy but reflective of reality. Here, we get to talk to fellow creatives like writers, authors, artists, comic book creators, filmmakers, you name it. We create and share our art here in the Philippines as well as abroad. My name is CJ Edmonds, I'm your host, and here is today's episode.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Urban Fantasy PH podcast. I'm your host, CJ Edmonds, and like always, our show is available both on Spotify and on my YouTube channel. You have the option to listen or to watch us. The choice I leave in your hands, and whether you are listening or watching, please click the subscribe button and ring the bell so you do not miss a single episode. All of our past episodes are at the ready for you to return to or listen chronologically if you wish to do so, or if you are joining us for the first time. Now, our guest for today is Arnold Sebastil. Yay! He is an award-winning author and professional web developer, honored as the grand winner, take note, grand winner of the 2025 Lampara Prize in the Young Adult category. Now, he is the author of Ano Nangyari Kay Wallace, and Ako Ikaw ang, at Isang Apocalyptic na Bulalakaw, and Click Balang, which I have here in my hands. Yeah. All right. And of course, his latest one as well. It's called Among Five Sinners. I got that as well. So I'm complete. His novels explore time, human connection, and the quiet power of hope. We so need that currently in our situation, wherever you are in the world. But Arnold believes that stories can heal, that stories can inspire and drive progress, turning lives into brokenness into lives worth telling. And may I add, worth reading. So let's welcome Mr. Arnold Sebastil. Yay! Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, welcome to the show, Arnold. First off, congrats for getting through the whirlwind. That is MIBF 2025, or the Manila International Book Fair. And most importantly, congrats on being the grand winner of the 2025
You.
Lampara Book Prize. This is in the young adult category for a different story of yours, which is called Saan Napupunta ang Nawawalang Nail Cutter. It's an interesting title. And just to sort of like get the ball rolling, can you tell us how was MIBF this year for you? And was it your first time to showcase your work like that?
Not really. I've been joining. And first of all, hi CJ, thank you for having me. And also about the MIBF, last time, it's not my first time joining the MIBF. I believe I joined them coming back from the pandemic
Mhm.
last 2022, I guess. That's
Yeah,
the
okay.
year. So I joined as someone who just want to buy books. So
Mhm.
yeah, and, I was there as a consumer. And then I realized there are some indie publishers publishing local books, or just stories written, not someone who graduate as a writer with creative
Mhm.
writing. So it caught my interest. That's why I work on my current story, so I publish it. So the next year, that's my first time first time MIBF author to have my, I know, the first timers package. Like there's a book signing about I think my first book back then is the Tagalog version of The Case of Wallace, the ano nangyari
Okay.
kay Wallace, and also the Bulalakaw, the Ako, Ikaw, at Isang Apocalyptic na Bulalakaw. And my titles are long, as you notice, but I have just the code name. So I called
Gusto mo
the
kami
ano nangyari.
pahirapan eh, kaya ganyan eh.
Yeah, just
Gusto
the
mo kami
code name.
pahirapan
So
sa title.
for the sense of we're talking about it, I call the other Wallace, the Case of Wallace, and also the Bulalakaw, just Bulalakaw. So usually the readers they call it that, the Bulalakaw and Wallace. So kasi ang haba. And that's my first time. It's really fulfilling as someone who writes stories to be a published author. So, yan, naramdaman ko siya back in 2023. Sobrang, ano ko, sobrang, I mean, yun yung cloud9 ng, I mean, writing career back then.
Mhm, mhm,
But
mhm.
this MIBF, it's really different from back in 2023. Kasi, you know, as you've said, it's awarding din of my written craft then last December. So, ang dami ko pinagdaanan bago ko masulat yon, and then yung seminar bago yon kasi yun yung journey nung story. So, receiving the award, hindi pa rin ako makapaniwala. Actually, ano yun eh, parang akala nila umaarte ako na nagulat ako kasi alam ko na nananalo. Sinabi ko men prior to that.
So, you
Pero
have to
kasi,
sort of like be the best actor. It's like, oh, I won an award. Oh wow. But you sort of like know
ano,
already.
yung tura ko na, tinawag yung pangalan ko. I'm not acting kasi I can't believe it until the moment it happened. Actually, hindi ko rin ako makapaniwala until now. So, totoo yung reaction ko na nagulat ako, tinawag yung pangalan ko. Although alam ko na mangyayari siya. Siguro, yeah, it's a different experience as an award winner this year kasi, alam mo yun, parang um, as confident as we are, parang mararamdaman pa rin yung humility na, ala, ako ba talaga yung tatawagin? I mean, deserve ko ba? May ang dami magagaling na sumali, and then I saw the other entries. Siguro narinig ko yung mga stories nila. And then ikaw yung i-set as grand winner. Sa MIBF, you know, parang it's a full circle eh. Back in 2022, pumunta ako doon as a consumer, you know, bala ko lang mag-hoard ng books. Yun yung start ng hoarding ko ng books, kaya medyo konti pa.
Same.
That's the start. Yan lang yung gusto kong gawin. Pero nag-full circle siya as nanalo yung sulat mo, and then ma-recognize siya sa mismong event sa kung saan ka nagsimula. It's a full circle experience. So yun yung siguro yun yung fulfillment na ay dati consumer lang ako, ngayon isa na ako sa nagpo-provide ng dapat nilang bilhin. I think the next MIBF announcement na din eh, no? I mean, I'm not sure if I am allowed, pero yeah, ano naman eh, we are planning to release that book the next MIBF. So baka magkaroon ulit siya ng full circle moment the next time. This,
Yay.
yeah. Pero this last MIBF, siguro yung experience ko din is, una nakakapagod. I mean, you've seen the place, di ba? Sobrang daming tao, and then nakakatawa kasi parang ang dami nang interested sa books, ang daming, I mean, like us, na interested sa mga stories, sa indie, syempre, especially, iba yung mga sulat ng mga kapwa natin authors na, ayun, ang daming magagandang entry. Ang dami ko nabili, ang dami kong nagastos. So, it's a fun festival to be with people na may sariling, may isang hobby like ours. So, yun lang.
Mhm, mhm. I so can relate with what you said about being a consumer because like everyone else, that's also how I started with MIBF. You know, I would hoard, I would bring a bag, or sometimes even when I have the bag, I feel like I should have brought a bigger bag so I can put more stuff in it. But you know, but that's the beauty of that if you really love books and if you have that sort of affinity for books. Now, I'd like to talk briefly about the book that won you the award. Once again, the title is Saan Napupunta ang Nawawalang Nail Cutter? In English, where did the nail cutter go? So it's an unusual title, but can you tell us more of how that story came into being, why that was the title that you chose, and for those who are not familiar, what exactly is the Lampara Book Prize, and is this awarded every year?
About the Lampara prize, I think they just come back kasi since the pandemic, nag-stop din sila. But I believe every year din sila. If I remember it correctly, nag-start sila last 2011.
Okay.
So, every year event siya. I'm not sure about the year. Pero, nag-stop sila during the pandemic and then they just came back. So, itong Lampara prize kasi is a surprise to us kasi una nag-release si Lampara ng palihan, seminar, writing seminar. So, ako naman, I mean, as an author, syempre gagrab natin in every opportunity na we learn. Syempre galing sa Lampara, gusto kong matutunan paano yung craft nila. Because I'm reading Lampara books din eh. I grew up with their books then. So gusto kong, parang laro-laro na, gusto kong maging part ng ano na to. So umattend ako ng seminar nila just to learn. Wala akong alam sa competition. Wala kaming alam sa competition. So I send my entries. So nag-ano sila ng short stories. So I have 2 short stories nun. Pinasa sa kanila for young adult kasi doon lang pasok yung mga short stories ko. So I send ako sa kanila just to join the seminar. Seminar yung pinaka-target ko kasi gusto ko matuto. Kasi kahit seminar pa lang, may entry point sila. Kailangan mong pumasa. So, nagpasa ako doon just hoping na sana makapasok ako sa seminar kasi I really want to learn kung paano magsulat ng ganito, paano nila nagagawa to for children's book or for the young adults. So, ayun, una, pumasa. Sobrang saya ko na, wow, pumasa ako sa Lampara ng seminar. Para ibig sabihin makaka-attend ako ng seminar. So, tuwan-tuwa ako. So, I joined the seminar. So, yung seminar pala na yon is hindi siya seminar na ituturo. Ganito yung structure ng story, ganito yung story mo, ganito yung gagawin, ganito magsulat ng YA. Hindi. Ang ginagawa pala nito, ang target nila sa seminar is kunin nila yung story mo and they study your story and then hanapan nila saan ito mag-i-improve. So, andun kami lahat ng mga kasali sa seminar thinking na it's a seminar, ready to learn. Pero inisa-isa nila yung story. Like, pupunta ka sa harap and then sabihin mo yung story mo. And then, yung parang pinaka-speaker, we thought na speaker, binasa niya na prior yung story. And then sasabihin niya yung flow. Sobrang nakaka-tense.
That is nerve-wracking. I mean, going in front of... Wait, how many people were in that seminar?
I think, hindi ko sure kung parang 8 to 10. Parang 8 to 10 kaming...
But still, I mean, to go in front of an audience and to tell people about your story and I don't know, I mean, we're all, I guess, being a creative person, we're all born introverts. So we're not used to going in front of an audience to tell people your story. But yeah, sure, go on.
Ako kasi parang sanay naman ako mag-present. Parang magpe-present ka sa school, magpe-present ka sa office. Pero at least give me a day for that.
Yeah. Right. Give us time to prepare. We can go up. We can be brave enough to go in front of an audience, but like, give me a head start. Like one day is enough. Not 30 minutes or an hour before.
Like, kapag tinanong ako, what's your story about? Parang lagi ako I think basahin mo na lang. Parang nagaganon ako.
That's the simplest answer. Just read it. I can't explain.
Sulat ko na lahat. So, yun yung ng format ng seminar na hindi sinabi sa amin. So, isa-isa, ako yung last na tinawag kasi I can't volunteer kasi parang I don't want to do it. So, ba't ako mag-volunteer? So, last akong tinawag doon. So, grabe yung tense ko. And then, talagang it's not hindi naman siya, improving naman siya. It's compliment naman, nagbibigay sila ng mga compliment. But it's not a very friendly time for the panelists, I guess, for the heads. Kasi sinasabi nila yung flows. And then, you mean the listeners sa seminars is kapwa mo authors and they're hearing your flows. Parang nakakaano siya na, nakakaiyak siya. And then, ako kasi, ang sinend ko is a short story. Hindi siya novelette, hindi siya format, hindi siya in a longer format. Yung saan napupunta ang mga nawawalang nail cutter is a short story, as in whimsical short story ng bata sa bus, ay ng lalaki na nakasakay sa bus. Yun lang. That's yun yung base ng story. And then, nung ako na yung nagkukwento, ang gulo ko magkwento kasi hindi ko ma-wrap around yung story ko to summarize nang hindi siya nasuspoil kasi there's a twist in the end. It's short story siya. So, mas mahaba pa yung kumbaga dinada ko kaysa sa short story. So, ang gulo ko, and then they give comments sa gawa ko, and then, you know, talagang hindi, halos di ko marinig yung sinasabi nila kasi meron ako sa isip ko na huwag kang iiyak, nakakahiya pag umiyak ka. Parang, ang niya, inaano nila, parang kinikriticize nila yung story na bakit ganito, bakit hindi malinaw tong ganito, anong connection ng Neil Cutter sa story, and then, hindi ko siya masagot kasi again sabi ko kasi pag nagsulat ako ng short story mostly noon walang answer kasi ano siya it's meant to be alam mo yan, I mean you read the click balang, there are parts there na I'm leaving the readers to think whatever they want to think, di ba kasi I'm not explaining a lot parang I'm leaving it to the readers.
At the risk of sounding being spoilerish, and I don't know if my own question is a spoiler in itself. If you explain what the nail cutter has to do with the story, is that a spoiler?
Yes. Oh,
okay.
I mean,
So all right. So I will not ask. I will just have to read it. So I will know more about it. But yeah, it certainly feels great when you've realized that you've won, and I wonder lang if did you ever feel did you ever I mean was there a sense of validation? Or did you feel like, okay, that's one award, let's go write some more so we can move on to the next award?
Actually both. Parang nung I was praying, sabi ko, Lord, kahit isang award lang, parang just gusto ko lang ma-validate na I'm a writer. I mean, of course, we're writers, publish, we have readers, so I mean, we're validated as writers kapag may mga nagbabasa sa atin, and then the readers just say na nagustuhan yung story. I mean, that's a validation as a writer already Pero iba kasi, so I'm asking na, Lord, kahit isang award lang, parang tapos aabusuhin ko yung award na yon. As in, ilalagay ko siya sa lahat ng ilalagay ko siya sa lahat ng intro ko, sa ano ko. Although medyo nakakailang pala.
Which we should. I agree. I mean, if you're an award nominated, sige, fine. You that will be attached to your bio. Award winning or award nominated. It certainly rings true, and it actually leads to my next question. And I've asked this of my guests before, and I'd like to bring it back again. Who do you think validates you as a writer? You mentioned that you get validation when readers read your book, but can you also get validation as a creative when you either, let's say, finish a first draft or you are busy and working to finish that draft? Which one has more validation for you? Do you validate yourself first or do you wait for other people to validate you?
The usual is kasi I'm writing in sulat lang kasi ako ng sulat So I think para sa sarili ko it's already valid na I can write, I can do something for myself na kasi as a writer I think para sa akin I grew up kapag hindi ko gusto yung pag hindi ako makanood ng movie, wala akong mabasang book. Hindi kasi ako lumaki sa ganun may mga ganun kaming media. So gumagawa ako ng sarili ko. The usual kid, kapag wala kang laruan, you make your own. So as writer, kapag hindi ka masyado nakakanood ng movies kasi mahal siya back then, kapag hindi nakabili ng libro kasi mahal siya back then, you make your own. So it's already validated sa akin na gumagawa ko ng story for me. So it already entertains me, it serves its purpose for me. Pero parang feeling ko kapag nag-validate yung ibang tao na maganda tong story na ginawa mo, nagustuhan ko siya. Parang may another layer of validation siya for me na ay hindi lang to pala para sa akin. Parang yun yung validation na ay hindi lang ako yung natutulungan ng kwento na to. May ibang tao pa na matutulungan sila or at least may entertain sila. So it's alam mo yun, parang yung nagawa mong laruan is already full kasi it serves its purpose na lalaruan mo siya, nagagamit mo siya. Pero kapag pinakita mo sa ibang tao and then natulungan sila, it expands. Para siyang parang lumalaki siya lalo. So yun. So, nag-validate na siya before, pero may other layer na validation siya for everyone.
I like that. Yeah, true. You really have to look for your own your own sense of who you are, your identity. And just in case, let's say for those creatives who do not get that kind of validation, they're never nominated, they haven't won any award. How do you think they should proceed? Because I feel that there's somewhere along the line there should be a mind shift or a conditioning that as you go along your writer journey, whether it's a first draft or an about to be published work or your 10th in a series, there's this mindset that you have to tell yourself that regardless if people read my work or they enjoy it or not, I validate myself first as a writer or as an author, whether I'm published or not, right?
Yes, yun din yung gusto kong, I mean, with this win, I want this to be not just for myself, but a testimony that the award will follow
Mhm.
eventually if you're
Okay.
not thinking about it, if you're not making this one as the goal. Kasi if you make the award as the goal and nakuha mo siya, and then tapos na yung goal mo. But if you go to make stories, kapag nakakuha ka ng award along the way, then it doesn't matter. And then
It's a
added siya
bonus.
yeah, oh, it's really a big bonus. But hindi ka titigil doon. So,
Mm.
akala ko din nung nung as a writer kapag naka-publish ako, okay, huli na 'yon. So, yung Wallace na publish ko na siya, then that's that. Okay na, publish author na ako. Pero hindi kasi my heart goes to writing lagi. So, lagi akong magsusulat kasi yun na yung nagustuhan ko. And then kapag na-publish na siya and then hihinto ako, ano nang gagawin ko sa writing? Ano nang gagawin ko sa mga stories na meron ako? So, tuloy-tuloy lang sa sulat. And then nakuha ko yung award din. Hindi siya yung parang nakuha mo si Lampara. Gusto ko yung higher award. Gusto ko yung higher award. Kasi it will never end. Pero it will never end na you keep on trying. And I
Mhm.
think it's tiring, di ba? Mapapagod ka, mababurn out ka sa career. Pero kapag ginagawa mo lang siya magsulat dahil it's an everyday task, hindi everyday task parang everyday hobby. So as long as you live, hobby mo siya eh. So magagawa
Yeah.
mo siya and eventually kapag araw-araw mo siyang ginagawa, 'di ba? You'll get better and then sooner or later magkakaroon ka ng mga award. And not just an award na like yung Lampara or even the Palangka. I think magkakaroon ka ng award sa mga tao na nakakabasa nito kasi pwede kang may mga tao para kasi sa akin, the award is just a validation of the group of people. Parang itong group of people to, they want to tell you na nagustuhan namin yung kwento mo. And it's not different kapag may group of students na nagsasabi na, Sir, nagustuhan namin yung story mo. And it's the same validation and yung layer na na-add sa'yo, yung boost na na-add sa'yo to write more
Mhm.
is really the same. The same drive na, magpatuloy ka lang sa ginagawa. So, yun yung, I think masasabi ko sa ibang mga authors na, like, wala pa akong award, should I stop? I
Mhm.
think, kung nakafocus ka sa award, I think you should. I mean, blatantly. Pero, kapag nakafocus ka sa I want to make stories. This one is bigger than the awards kasi akin to eh. Ito yung gusto kong gawin everyday. The awards will
Mhm.
fade. I mean, eventually the next year magkakaroon ng bagong Lampara Prize winner na hindi na ako. So, it will fade. May 1 year ako to reign. Parang gano'n.
Right, right.
Para abutuhin yung ano. Pero eventually, the following years, magsusulat pa rin ako because that's what I love to do.
Yeah, and stories need to breathe and to grow, and if you just I agree, if you just go for the awards, parang it would be like, oh, so this is it. There's nothing more left for me to achieve. But if you go by the stories, then you know that there will always be a reason for you to write. And you mentioned that, and I like that you said that you used your writing to sort of like keep yourself busy because if you're not able to watch movies or or books were too expensive back in the day. And I was wondering if that was something that probably was suggested by you or you stumbled upon, because you did credit your mother on your website to be one of the earliest influences on you as a reader. So do you think that also had something to do with it?
Yeah, kasi I think siguro yung mga tao, may mga tao talaga na nag-push sa atin and hindi natin ma-realize yun. Pero and then sila hindi nila na-realize yun na they're pushing us to something bigger than whatever they think about it. Pero um yung nanay ko kasi mahilig siya yung mga bedtime stories. I mean, hindi kami mayaman back then. So, hindi kami yung mga social na may storybook and then binabasahan ka. So, yung nanay ko kasi kung ano lang yung kinuwento sa kanya, yun yung kukwento niya as bedtime stories. So, para lang, ano lang siya. So, minsan nag-invento siya ng minsan napapaghalo-halo niya. Alam mo yun, nabasa mo na yung story, pero nabasa niya din, kukwento niya sa'yo, paghalo-halo niya yung name. Kasi, I mean, I think it's genes na hindi kami magaling sa names, mag-memorize. So, mapapaghalo niya. But the story will stick sa akin. And then, may isip mo na, what if gumawa din ako ng sarili kong story? What if mag-build din ako? And then, it starts from there. Parang nag-snowballing na lang siya na, from a listener sa ganong bedtime stories and then ngayon sa winning awards sa publishing books. So, doon pa talaga siya nagsimula. Doon siya nag-start mag-roll. So, yeah, yun yung sa akin. Pero I believe most of us kasi parang may mga taong ganun. If it's not your parents, it's your friends. Diba? Parang sa friends mo, meron ding yung magpapalitan kayo ng story. I think back in the days, nung elementary ako, uso yung magsusulat ka lang sa libro, sa notebook, tapos iikot yon. I think some of the animators nag-start ng gano'n na magdodrawing sila sa book and then umiikot siya sa room. I don't know kung nangyari din sa inyo nung elementary kayo.
Wala pa rin. But that's an interesting exercise. But like it's like a communal writing exercise wherein, okay, fine, I write this paragraph. Oh, here's the next one. You continue that. It's a great collaboration. It will teach you collaboration in the earliest form.
It's really fun. Sana nagagawa pa rin siya sa mga high school ngayon. Parang magsusulat ka lang ng story sa notebook. Parang you have a notebook na magsulat ka short story. Tapos ikalat mo yung notebook na yun. So for those who want to read it, read it. So then kung gusto mo siyang dagdagan, there's the next page. So magsulat ka ng short story. Parang nagiging siya, na sige, kung gusto mo maging writer, magsulat ka dyan. Gusto mo maging reader, basahin mo yung mga nakasulat dyan. And then may mga comics, may mga doon. And it becomes a compilation sa yun nga lang yung pino-confiscate kasi syempre it's disturbing the class. Pero nangyari na yun. So I think isa rin yun sa nakatulong sa akin to write kasi and then para ma-appreciate na if meron ka lang small community na readers, kung meron ka lang mga taong sumusupport sa'yo, 1, 2, 10 is too much na, and then mapupush ka na rin na masusulat ako for them.
Well, it's true that writers start off as readers first, and it's no wonder that seems to be the next step in our evolution as readers is to become writers and authors ourselves. Would you have memories of the first book that you read that sort of like planted the seed that made you think, I think I want to be a writer, or I think this is going to be fun?
Siguro madami kasi yun nga, may mga children's book kasi. I mean, i-share ko na lang din part kasi ako na ng, if you know the organization on the Save the Children, I think sobrang tanda ko na.
No. Hey, everybody knows that. Well, if you don't, then fine, Google it.
Naging part kasi ako nun. And then meron akong sponsor na nagpapadala siya ng books. So nagpapadala siya ng mga storybooks. Tapos meron yan yung kasing mamahalin hindi siya yung parang printed lang na meron siya yung may plastic pa and then sobrang ganda. And then doon ko na-realize na yung sponsor ko mahilig siya sa books. So parang gusto niyang i-impart sa akin na magustuhan mo rin yung books. Binigyan niya rin ako ng Harry Potter. So yun yung mga
nice.
So nag-start ako doon magbasa. Ang weird niya kasi yung unang basa ko sa Harry Potter is Chamber of Secrets. I think that's book 2.
That's book 2, yeah.
And then, appreciate ko siya na ang ganda ng Chamber of Secrets, pero gusto kong mabasa yung iba pa. So, dun nga napasa yun. Yeah, kasi pinasa niya yung pagka-reader niya sa akin. And then, dun na nag-start na, alam mo yun, magkakaroon ka ng konting yabang kapag nakakabasa ka ng konting books na parang kaya kong gumawa ng story na ganito. Of course, we will fail sa first time na, kaya kong magsulat ng mala Harry Potter eh. And then I tried, and then I failed. Parang yun yung goal mo. Pero, I mean, parang, siya, as a reader kasi parang ma-entice ka rin as parang audience, di ba? Parang kapag sa movies, nanonood ka ng movies, ma-entice ka rin na parang, gusto kong mag-artista kasi gusto kong masali sa ganito, gusto kong maging ganito. So, as a reader, ganun din parang gusto kong maging part ng ganito, so magsusulat din ako ng ganito. I mean, di ba, I think doon nag-start yung mga fan Ay, may
Yeah.
mga
Yung mga
written sa mga
fanfics, yes, ang dami
mga
niyan.
fanfics, yeah, sa Twilight.
Oh
I think
God.
nire-reveal ko yung age ko masyado, no?
No, 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 that's fine. We do not judge people here by their age. We do not judge, period. So no worries about that. But yeah, fanfics are a good way of practicing your craft because you learn. It's nice to practice on characters that you already know, and then you sort of like discover that this facet of this one character from this show has not, let's say, been more outgoing, but in my story they're more of an extrovert than an introvert. So in that way, you get to practice your own writing, you get to practice characterization, and if anyone says that fanfic is, it's just nothing. No, fanfic is a good way to exercise your craft, your grammar, your sequencing. That's fanfic will also teach you whether you're a plotter or a pantser. Yeah. So, aside from being a published author, you are also in the tech industry. You started as a data analyst, and then you became a senior web developer. I was wondering, do you think that being in that sector or having been in those jobs helped you into becoming a better storyteller?
Uh, I think all our experience it will help us be a better writer because we're writing about experiences. So, I think kahit anong naging career ko, makakatulong siya on how to become a better writer.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes with, I mean, let's be practical. I mean, para masustentuhan ang aking hobby, I think I need this job, di ba? Pero back then, nung high school kasi, doon ako nag-start maging reader. And then doon ako nag-start ng dream ko na, ay, gusto kong maging writer. Gusto kong magsulat ng ganito, parang maging magkaroon ng course ng creative writing. But of course, ano tayo ng reality check na, I mean, back then, the reality is, may magsasabi, pag pumipili ka ng course, diba, ay, walang pera sa ganito, mahirapan ka sa ganito. And back then,
Yep,
kailangan namin,
the arts have always had that bad rap. It's always like that. And I see people and I hear people say that the how different it would be if the arts were taken seriously and was considered, a job. Because in a way it is in a way a job, because you don't just sit here and you do automatic writing and you put your hands on the keyboard and you close your eyes and yes, my ideas will continue and flow
mm,
out of the keyboard. No, it's not like that. You also have to work at it. You also have to practice your grammar. You also have
mm,
to, practice your rational mind and move scenes around. You feel that the scene is better in the middle, or chuck it to the end, or move it forward or into the front. So there is work to be done when you paint, when you sculpt, when you dance. It's still work. So yun lang. Sorry for ranting.
yeah, oo. Kasi, I mean, susundan sana kita eh. Look where it lead us, diba? We have a problem sa, ano lang,
Literacy.
yes, yung comprehension, yung literacy,
Yeah.
yung pagbabasa yung mga, I mean, senior high, hindi may mga times na, I mean, ito yung in-address ng Lamparide, also the other sectors, kasi nasa education din yung mga kapatid ko. May mga senior
Mm-hmm.
high na hindi marunong magbasa, hirap umintindi. Di ba? Look where it
Mm-mm.
lead us na nag-focus tayo na ay, santo may pera. But yeah, sino ang makaka-resolve sana yan? Yung mga creative writers, yung mga writers, yung mga magpo-provide sana ng materials. And
Yeah.
yet, hindi siya napopondohan. I mean, di ba?
Wait,
Sobrang
can I,
focus
can, can
natin
I
sa
sure. So okay, I would like to interrupt and share a story that I heard, that I overheard in a bookstore. And I'm trying to remember when this was. I think maybe 2010, 2011. My heart bled for the kid. I heard the mother scold her kid, "Wag ka lang, don't go looking for those books. Di ka naman marunong magbasa. Or hindi ka naman mahilig magbasa, or hindi ka magaling magbasa." Something to that effect. Like, I could not believe the words came out from that mom. So, on that spot, you want to try and not be judgmental and say, like, how could you be a good parent and tell your kids that you don't know how to read, or you can't practice reading, or reading is nothing to be you know given priority because you don't have the time, you don't have the ability, you're not good, you're not great. And then at the same time, when you look back, it's like, what could her space be when she said that? Does she feel that probably books were expensive for her to, to buy? And that's why, because it's expensive, I'll just discourage my kid because I can't
Or
give my kid that.
I think we have this ano din na may thinking tayo na yung pagbabasa sa mga matatalino lang yan, yung pagbabasa sa mga ano lang yan, sa very intellectual people lang yan. Pero ang totoo is, it's for everyone. Everyone should read. Dapat ano siya, I mean, dapat necessity siya, hindi siya something na para sa specific people, specific few. It's really for everyone. So, I think nagkaroon ng ganun, ano siya eh, I don't think na nangyari siya overnight, pero unti-unti siya nangyari. And then, even na-improve din yun back when I was high school doon na hindi siya naging norm magbasa, parang naging ano pa siya na pinipilit magbasa yung mga bata, parang kapag nagbabasa ka, maka-feel ka ng discrimination na parang matalino siya eh. Pero hindi siya nakikita as hobby, hindi siya nakikita as, halimbawa, mahilig siya magbasa, mahilig siya mag-basketball. Nakikita yung nag-basketball na, kasi teenager yan, mahilig talaga sila mag-basketball, o kaya mahilig sila mag-games, o kaya nakikita siya as normal na ginagawa ng mga bata. And the weird thing is, kapag nakita mong bata nagbabasa, meron ka agad thinking na, parang nagpapakitang tao o kaya nagpipiling matalino. May mga ganun.
Yeah, there's a discrimination. Yeah, I agree. There is a little bit of that.
Tuloy siya na kung gusto mo lang sana magbasa as a hobby, sana nakuha mo yung fruit nun, and then if also yung society natin makukuha sana yung fruit nun. Although going back sa tech side ko naman, it's really different naman. Hindi naman siya talaga totally na mag-tech side ka para may pera. Hindi din naman talaga. Actually, kung gusto ko din ng ipagpapatuloy ko yung creative writing. Pero kasi nagkaroon din ako ng personal love sa tech nun. Kasi imagine, that's 2009. Sige, 2008, nung nagkaroon ako ng love sa tech nun. So, that's the start of Friendster, di ba? So,
God, Friendster, yes.
Diba, nakaka-enjoy siya na magpo-post ako hindi pa nga post yung term nun eh, parang magko-comment ako nalimutan ko yung pinaka-term ng ano niya. And then something na makikita siya ng mga friends mo, makaka-create ka digitally, makakagawa ka ng story kasi may mga panel ng mga images. So, movie maker, so kung sinong nakakaalala ng movie maker, may mga gano'n. So, parang minahal ko rin yung tech. Nagkaroon ako ng love sa tech back then kasi start din ng tech. So sabi ko, yeah, sure, mag-IT ako kasi yun yung kumbaga the rising of the tech sa era natin. So, yun. And then akala ko kapag nag-tech ako, kakalimutan ko na yung writing kasi syempre kailangan mong mag-focus. I mean, program yun, coding yun. I mean, may ano siya. Pero hindi pala siya. I mean, I was wrong kasi nilid ako ni Lord doon sa isang path na yun. Pero para lang pala to support this craft na mabibuild siya, na magme-meet halfway. So ngayon siya nagme-make sense kasi you see, 'di ba, yung Wattpad, I mean sabihin natin na yung halo-halo sa Wattpad, may mga quality, may mga hindi. But yeah, nandoon siya, nag-meet yung technology, nag-meet yung mga vlogs sa pagka-create ng mga stories. Ngayon may mga short stories online. We have websites na pwede kang mag-post ng story mo. Sa Facebook na may mga nag-post ng mga story with the images. Parang, kaya pala, hinayaan lang muna ako ni Lord na sige, mag-IT ka muna. And then, let's prepare the field para kapag ready ka na magsulat, meron kang platform. Parang yun yung story ko.
I like that.
Sinet sa akin ni Lord no, kasi pinag-pray ko siya nung sa high school ako na, Lord, magte-tech ba ako, mag-creative writing ako. Although may mga isip sa akin na kailangan din namin ng pera, syempre may mga practical thinking ka, pero niling talaga ni Lord na, sige, let's prepare the field muna. Kasi back then, baka hindi ready. Kapag nag-creative writing ako, tapos wala akong alam sa tech, baka hindi naman ako maging ready.
Right. Kumbaga, as they say, pinahihinog ka muna.
Yes, so,
di ba?
Mas hinog ka na as tech, sige, mag-tech ka. I-earn mo yung ano mo sa tech. And then, hindi sa pagmambayabang, hindi sa pagtataas ng sariling bangko. But yeah, I did well. Nung nag-IT ako, nung college, I did really well na naisip ko na ay para dito talaga ako. So hindi yun sasabi na ay napilitin siya mag-IT, hindi siya hindi siya masaya sa field. Actually sobrang saya ko noon kasi parang doon ko unang nakita na ay para dito ako. Pero hindi pa siya full. Hindi pa siya yung purong ikaw. Pero nasa tamang path ka lang para maramdaman mo na ay nasa tamang landas ka, hindi ka nagkakamali. So, I really did well sa programming. So, na-earn ko yung mga titles and then na-earn ko yung galing sa tech for this long 10 years. Diba? Gumraduate ako to 2013. Nag 10 years na ako 2023. Imagine, it's exactly 10 years ng 2023 na makapag-publish ako ng book. So, parang ganun siya. 10 years it took 10 years para makaset ng field sa tech. And then, nung established na ako sa tech, and then I started writing. And then, eto na. So, yun, dun siya I feel like na nag-boom kasi, I prepared for this And also, syempre, sa tech industry, it rings true din na may pera talaga. I mean, wag niyo ako utangan, pero may budget for that sa hobby. Of course, ang mahal kaya magpa-publish. Self-publish,
True. Diba? Oo. Baka meron tayong subastil lending. Mga ganun.
Nakatahan. Kasi But sobrang kasama siya sa, okay, imagine mo, syempre, isusupport mo yung sarili mo as indie, diba? Yun yung problema natin eh. Paano mo isusupport yung sarili mo hindi kasi sinusupport ng publishers kasi kailangan yung mga big publishers, nagsusupport sila ng writers nila, yung traditional. Pero sa atin, pag indie ka, gastos mo lahat yun, diba? The copies.
Yes, lahat sa'yo. From the artwork to the layout to the editing and all that, diba? You have to hire people for those. Unless talagang, you're really, really good and you can do everything by yourself. You're a one-man army. Kudos to you. But more often than not, we have to sort of subcontract other people for the other tasks.
I don't think na merong perfectly one-man army eh. Kasi the editing, kapag ikaw nagsulat nun, ako programmer ako, nagsusulat ako ng codes pero I can't test my own programs. Kailangan may ibang magte-test nun kasi magiging bias eh. I think similar siya sa writing na kapag nagsulat ka, dapat hindi ikaw mag-QA nun, dapat hindi ikaw yung mag-edit. Kasi malalampasan mo ng mata yun eh. Plus, may cringe pa din kapag binabasa mo yung sarili mong sulat eh. So, malilimutan, hindi mo masiskip mo tong ganito. And then, plus, it's not my professional job, yung grammar. So, of course, kahit Tagalog yun, ang dami kong maling grammar. So, kailangan mo talaga ng editor, kailangan mo ng plus yung magpa-flow ng gano'n. Sobrang mahal niya na the artwork, mahal siya. Kasi, as much as possible, gusto mo rin supportahan yung mga artists na yun din ng kabuhayan nila. So, hindi ka pwede bang na lang, 1K na lang? Hindi. Yung babarating mo sila. Kasi at some point, artist ka din, so ayaw mong binabarat eh. So, ang mahal. Sobrang mahal niya magpa-publish. Kailangan ko na, kahit medyo kahit medyo may pera ka naman, may budget ka for that, kailangan mo pa rin maghinay-hinay kasi hindi mo yun. Plus, the biggest budget ata na kumakain is the marketing. Parang, okay, may na-publish ka na. Paano mo na siya i-market? Saan ka may market? Sinong may kakilala na ganito? Nasa IT field ako, sinong kakilala ko na gusto ng libro, di ba? Yun, dun yung nahirapan. So, I think it really prepares me na, sige, sa tech ka muna, i-hone mo yung skills mo sa industry, i-hone mo yung career mo para magkaroon ka ng established, at least budget sa hobby mo. Kasi mapapansin mo yung mga IT, may mga budget naman sila dyan, like they travel, di ba? May mga may mga budget sila sa ganito, pumunta sa ganito, o kaya bumili mag-collect ng mga ganito. Ito na nga yung pinakamaliit na collection ng IT person eh. Kasi makikita mo, mga collection nila, collection eh. Pero may budget doon. So, yun. So, parang hinayaan ako ni Lord, sige, have the budget muna and then support this writing. So yun. Minsan nabibitin pa rin kasi Diba? Huwag nating sabay-sabay i-publish kasi ang mahal.
One book at a time. I agree. And that is the surest way to go. Not just in publishing, but I guess in writing as well. You know, you do it, one book at a time. If you've mastered your craft enough, you can write two books at the same time. Then yay, that's a challenge. But one at a time is the best way to go. I saw in your post that in order to get to know you, you posted 10 books. Now I did the same, but I did tell you that I'm a person who's bad in following instructions, so I made mine 12. And among the books that you listed, of course, you have to include your own. Dapat lang, di ba? And of course, it's perfectly okay to include yours as well. So let's start with the case of Wallace. Um, Clearly, it's Christian fiction, but I wonder, for those who have not read it, can you tell us what the book is all about? And this is the second or the first that you wrote
First,
amongst the first amongst all. Okay, it's the first. All right. So a brief summary with no spoilers.
yeah, the case of Wallace kasi it started as, again, yan yung parang awakening project na something na pwede akong magsulat ng libro. Kasi wala talaga sa isip ko na magsusulat ako. I mean, for the long years na tech ako, hindi ako writer, hindi ako ganun. So, no, pero kasi, like I said, kailangan mo ng community for you to realize na you're bound to do something that's bigger than you. So, meron kasi ako ng community ng young people. So, the young people sila sa church. So, I lead them. So, syempre, bonding as a youth leader. So, and then malalaman mo yung mga struggles nila sa mental health. And also yung struggles nila spiritually. So, makikita mo na kapag may pinagdadaanan sila sa mental health nila, of course, usual yun sa teenagers na meron sila sa mental health nila na hindi nila kaya yung studies, mahirap yung sa bahay nila, and then hindi sila naiintindihan. I mean, yan yung usual rant ng teenagers, di ba? Ng mga teens, na hindi sila naiintindihan. And I want to reach to their level na parang, I want to understand you. Of course, there are parts na may disconnect kasi as millennials and then the Gen Z, may malaki tayong disconnect sa kanila. So, pero kasi ako, gusto ko silang matulungan. So, gusto ko yung ma-reach sila sa level nila. So, nagsusulat ako for them, like, to inspire them, para maano sila, magkaroon sila ng hope. I mean, it's funny na makita na ganun kasi as a tech person, sobrang technical ko, na gusto ko siyang maano na parang as numbers na may inspire ka kapag ganito. Hindi pala siya ganun kasi subjective siya, and then you have to learn the person na ini-inspire mo. So, inaral ko yon for them kasi, I mean, I have a heart for them eh. And then, I love these young people na hindi pa sa writing sila lang yung focus ko. And then naisip ko, mahilig sila sa story. So instead na parang technical yung spiritual na isusulat ko, like self-help, bakit hindi ko siya gawing story? Kasi nagbabasa sila sa Wattpad. Hindi ako pala basta sa Wattpad, honestly. Pero sila yung nagbabasa doon. So, I parang na tinulungan ko sa sarili ko, I have to build something for them. For them lang, sila lang yung I think mga 20 kids yon, 20 teenagers na goal kong magbasa ng The Case of Wallace. So, sinulat ko siya starting 2019, and then nabasa nila yung first chapter. Sobrang nagustuhan nila. And then na-encourage sila na gawin mo na yung ganito, next chapter. Alam mo yun, kapag may toxic ka na fan base, gawin mo na, nasa yung next chapter. And then the pandemic hits. And then syempre, grabe yung time natin nasa loob tayo ng bahay. So, natapos ko siya ng 3 months. Kakasulat lang na siya kasi pinipressure nila ako. And then, yun, nung nakita ko na nagreklamo yun. Nung nakita ko na nakatulong sa iba yung sulat ko, tas yung kabuuan ng Wallace, parang naano ko na, kaya ko pala magsulat. So, The Case of Wallace is about someone, a church leader who experienced suicide sa family. So, yung kapatid niya is suicide. So, sabi niya, may mga nagsabi na spoiler yon. Actually, hindi. Nasa chapter 1 yon, di ba? And then, nasa blurb yon. And, gustong ipakita ng The Case of Wallace na mental health is real. Hindi lang siya yung, it's not really an attack kasi it's I wish for it to be an awakening sa an eye opener sa
Mhm.
churches, sa spiritual community, na mental health is something na sakit. Hindi siya yung ipag-pray mo to mawawala yan. Like it's a magic. Hindi eh. There's a process. And also parang gusto ko ipakita na even yung the Bible, yung pinaka-basis na pinapaniwalaan natin, may process pa rin kapag if you're grieving. Hindi siya basta ipag-pray mo mawawala. And kasi yung ganun,
Mhm.
as a leader sa isang Christian community, napapansin ko kasi na parang na ano siya, na nasasantabi. So I want this to be ano siya, medyo brave thing to do siya kasi unusual, hindi siya yung magiging okay din lahat, ay magiging ganito. No, kasi pinakita dyan yung how ugly it is, how ugly depression is, and how ugly the experience, kung gaano kabigat yung experience na you have someone to hurt themselves,
Mhm.
to mag-end up dying. So may mga ganun. So I want, kaya medyo mabigat yung first book kasi meron akong goal dyan eh na gusto ko makita kung tingin mong mabigat siya basahin, kasi yun yung goal ko, dapat mabigatan ka kasi mabigat to, hindi to madali, hindi siya magaan, dapat
Mhm.
dapat i-take siya seriously. So I think konti yung gustong magbasa niyan kasi ano siya, most people they want to look away. Gusto namin yung gusto namin yung magaan lang, pero that's a topic na dapat titigan maigi and then planuhin maigi, especially the community who wants to build the young people, who wants to grow them spiritually. So yun yung naging goal, kaya medyo mabigat siya, medyo malungkot siya. Actually may mga readers na tinanong ako na, kuya okay ka lang ba kasi baka sobrang lungkot mo, baka ikaw mismo may depression ka kaya mo siya nasulat. And honestly, the pandemic, sinong wala, di ba?
Yeah,
Sinong walang anxiety during the pandemic? Um,
exactly.
And then, siguro, kaya ko rin siya nasulat, yung The Case of Wallace, it's personal din sa akin. Kasi, I have read someone na very close to me na natulong yung mag-cut. So, alam mo yun, may nangyari pala sa yung very close to you, tapos may isip mo siya na ginawa niya yon. And then, what if natuluyan siya, di ba? Parang, what if na tumuloy? And then, you're imagining a place na wala sila doon. So yun yung naging vibe ng buong book. So sobrang bigat niya. And then kasi
Yeah.
it's para din sa
It's
akin
it's
kasi
not a book that you can finish in one sitting. In short, and you know, it's
yes, oo.
unti-unti, little by little, chapter by
Mm,
chapter a day. That's the safest way
mm.
to read it.
Also, naglagay din ako ng mga Christian principles. But yeah, I ask most people, kasi may mga nagbabasa din na hindi naman talaga parang as Christian, hindi din naman parang active sa church. But yeah, nung nabasa nila yon parang, ano siya eh, something, nakita nila yung purpose ng writer na gustong ma-reach out yung level ng nakaka-experience ng depression and then
Mhm.
nakaka-experience noon, kasi it's not about being spiritual, it's not about being na maniwala kayo, sumanib kayo sa church namin, it's not like that eh. It's something na um, lahat tayo tao and then we experience this and it's
Right.
valid to feel that. So
Oh,
yun yung tungkol sa kanya.
okay.
I
Let's
mean,
move to book number two. So the second book, the one that I got from you first, basically jump started my spooky season reading. It's called Click Balang. If you can't read it as clearly, the title of the cover itself was definitely calling out to me when I first saw it online. And I thank you for answering my message, and I was able to get a copy by ordering, directly from you. So guys, supporting local creatives is not just by asking for a copy. Okay, please order and purchase directly from the author if you can. If their books are not in popular bookstore chains, or online vendors, please do not give into the habit of asking for a copy. Please buy one. That's how you support. Okay. So anyway, enough of my rant. But getting back to Click Balang, can you give us a background info on what the book is all about, without any spoilers, of course, and what prompted you or inspired you to write it?
Yeah. I think it's very fun to write yung Click Balang kasi naisip ko siya during service. I mean, sa church. I mean, ba't ako doon nakakaisip ng mga weirdong idea? I mean, nasa church ako and
Oh, it's not
then,
weird at all. It's not weird at all. I love it.
I
Anything with
mean,
with the mythology and all that.
the pastor is preaching about yung pagtibayan yung families and so online kasi nagkaroon ng online issues about yung build ng family, yung strength ng ayun, the personal family. Kasi doon ko naisip na gaano kalakas yung online world para ma-affect na rin the core ng community natin siya. Of course, the core of the community is the families inside it. So, kapag nasira yung mga families inside, kapag halimbawa hindi na sila nagkakaisa, nagkakairingan na sila, it's not really buo na masama-sama sila, pero sama-sama nga nag-aaway naman. Tapos naisip ko yung power ng internet because of that, na dahil lang sa internet na nagkakaroon sila ng mga feud inside the home. Hindi lang siya yung big feud parang yung nagse-separate sila sa ideals. So naisip ko yung power ng internet, and then naisip ko kasi I think nasulat ko siya June. And then nagbabasa ako ng yung mga Pinoy mythical creature. So parang syempre mag-iisip ka ng what if ganito? What if hindi talaga yung internet? Parang naisip ko na what if nililigaw tayo ng tikbalang. I think yun yung pinaka-thought na what if yung internet is gawa talaga ng, di ba may mga gano'n na, gawa yan ng Illuminati o kaya gawa yan ng ganito.
Right. What if? Dyan tayo magaling What if? And that's why we're writers.
Tapos naisip ko, dumating ako sa tikbalang kasi di ba sila yung nanliligaw ng mga tao, na parang para malito yung mga tao. And then, ganun yung nangyayari online. Nalilito na yung mga tao. Ano yung totoo? Parang visually, yung tikbalang is visual sa forest. Dapat itong puno na to, nadaanan mo na. And then, naisip ko siya, what if nangyayari talaga siya sa pero what if the internet is just a platform of that? So doon ko naisip yung Clickbalang. Well, yung title kasi medyo madali kasi siya kasi
it's catchy. It's super catchy. It's super catchy. For people who are not familiar with those of Philippine folklore, and let me show the cover again. This comes from the root word tikbalang, or the word that refers to a Philippine creature of mythology. And it is a creature that has the body of a horse, upper body, and then the lower body is that of a man. So it's like you could call it, I don't know, reverse centaur or something, because centaur is the other way around. It's the person upper part, and it's a horse on the lower part. For tikbalang, it's the other way around. So it's a portmanteau of those two words. When you click on social media, and of course tikbalang, and sort of like you can get the picture of why the story is that. And I love that the whole book seems to be a statement about social media and how we consume it. And you can see I got notes. So let me read a line that's taken from page 4. You wrote, social media works like that. They wait for you to speak, not to understand, but to criticize. Do you remember why you wrote that statement?
Yeah. I was thinking kung personal ba siyang nangyari sa akin, but yeah, I think personal. Yeah, personal. It's very personal. I think ayoko na lang sabihin kasi mamaya may na naman. But yeah, it's very personal kasi it's true. I mean, there are a lot of posts. May mga post ako na hindi nila tinake yung context. And then hindi naman siya nag-viral as in, but yeah, I experienced people na they're just waiting for me to say something. And then magsiset sila ng screenshot, and then may experience kasi akong ganyan na meron sila, yung the other GCs na hindi kakasali.
Right.
And then they accidentally, instead na sinend nila sa GC na to, nasend nila sa GC kung nasan yung pinag-uusapan nila. That happens to me, ako yung pinag-uusapan nila. And then I realized how they're twisting the words that I said, and how they're just waiting for this one piece of information that they want. But not thinking of the whole concept of why I said that, ano yung background ng saan ako nang gagaling, and then hindi sa para mag-rant, but yeah, it happens. And alam ko na, hindi naman ako big influencer, hindi naman ako malaking tao sa social media, pero nangyari siya sa akin. What if nangyayari din siya sa iba, di ba? And then totoo siya sa online. Kasi 'di ba, kapag nag-argument yung mga tao, they're just waiting for you na magkamali ka ng type, doon ako magfo-focus. Halimbawa, yung there mo maging there, yung it's mo maging it's.
Yeah,
Hindi
everyone becomes a grammar Nazi on social media. It's like, oh, you have no open quotation marks. Oh,
uh,
you missed a comma, or why do you write your sentences like with no spacing? What's wrong with you? Were you
mm,
not taught to do that in
yeah.
school?
And then they're just waiting for that to happen. So kaya dun sa
Okay.
character, nilagyan ko siya ng situation na you can explain yourself.
Yes. I
Nandito ka sa era ng internet na maraming pwedeng makabasa ng explanation mo that they're not gonna read it. Hindi ka nila papansinin. And yun yung nangyayari sa iba. Imagine na pag nambabash yung mga tao, they're just waiting for you to speak up. Hindi para marinig yung side mo, kundi para lalo kang ibaon sa narrative na meron na sila sa isip nila.
Right, and it's also no surprise that at the center of any controversy, especially if it's a famous person, they just choose to keep silent, or they'll let the scandal or whatever it is blow up after a while, and then when everyone's quiet, that's a time that they speak, which is, I think, is also a good move, because you have to speak, from a space of when you're calm and when you're collected, and you've collected your thoughts and what to say, so that everything is addressed. I agree with that sentiment, with regards to how social media is, or the abuse and the use of it. I was actually out for dinner last night, and there was this family seated beside me, and their daughter was holding an iPad. I mean, gone were the days when it was books that the kids were holding. I don't know, I suppose it boils down to the parents as well. If they themselves were perhaps readers, they would want their kids to be more exposed to books. And if we keep this up, we might be just hastening another form of the apocalypse, which you mentioned in page 118, that people abandon the real world, and the virtual world is the one that becomes real. And true, we see that. I mean, we are. I don't know if it's safe to say that we're the same generation, but I'm part of the generation. Yeah, I mean, that grew up with no internet. All right, I was one of the generation that grew up with no iPad, no smartphones, no cell phones whatsoever. But we made it through. So, and we're still here, and we're part of the generation that is slowly acclimating to everything that's uh, more digital, and we have to, I guess, feel that we have to strike a balance somewhere. And if we don't realize that a balance needs to be struck, then we might just be going around in circles, just like Joseph in the story will forever be in that forest, and we don't know how to get out. But one of the things that I like also that you wrote on page 154. Ooh, I may research my page. That the way out was never the forest, it was always the heart. And as much as it holds true for Joseph in the story, I also feel that it holds true for everyone who wants to make something out of their lives, and they can't seem to get out of the forest of confusion that they're experiencing, because they're either not being given a chance, or they don't give themselves the chance to do what they love, which is what's in their hearts. So I'm glad that you were able to do that. You were able to get yourself out of the forest, and that you are going on striking that balance for yourself, that you have your tech on one side and you have your writing on the other, and you're going at it on dual ways, and that's rare for most people. And if you have not given yourself a pat on the back, I think you should do that.
Thank you.
Now, you've also released another book, released recently, but from what I remember, it's a re-release.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is called Among Five Sinners. Perfect for a season of scares this October. And can you tell us what the book is about? Again, no spoilers, and what made you write the book?
Yeah, about the release of Among Five Sinners. Actually, nag-release ako last November, pero personal release kasi siya. So, ano lang
Mhm.
siya, for the people, for just a thank you for the readers ng Wallace and then Bulalakaw. So, nag-release ako ng I release some copies and I give them free copies. So I'm not I'm not taking it as a release. Parang ano siya, parang special edition release.
Okay, a special
So
edition. That's fine.
kasi ano, I mean, pinampamigay lang siya talaga. Nasulat ko tong Among Five Sinners kasi after the Wallace, 'di ba? It's really weird thinking na how kung ano yung Wallace na very purposeful about mental health, and then I wrote something horrific. I wrote something this claustrophobic um story. So about Among Five Sinners, it focuses on about kasi if you watch it, kung napanood mo yung I think nalimutan ko yung title niya. It's an M Night Shyamalan movie.
Yes, I was gonna say that. It's an M. Night Shyamalan movie wherein people were trapped in an elevator, and it just so
Yeah.
happens that
So
one of the
sobrang
people in there was supernatural. That's all we're gonna
mhm.
say.
And then super na-amaze ako ng paano yung story, nag-run yung story just inside the elevator. So, naisip ko na gusto kong gumawa ng gano'n. I mean, di ba, we have those attempts na gusto kong gumawa ng story na nandoon lang yun, nandoon lang to sa isang place. And then, pero syempre, nag-slip yung pen mo into backstories, into other places. But yeah, gusto kong maging base lang siya, na nandoon lang siya sa elevator. So, gusto kong ganun. And then, that's the purpose. And that's what the Among Five Sinners is about. So, I want them to be stuck in a claustrophobic place with nothing to do but think about your sins. Diba? Parang,
Hmm.
it's a hell in itself na I think the definition of hell sometimes is like it's a fire, it's about physically hurt, yung mga ganun yung thinking nila sa hell. But I want this very philosophical, I think, and psychological torture that if
Yes,
you're
it
trapped in an
is.
elevator with nothing to do but think about what you've done in your life. And it's really weird kasi when I wrote the case of Wallace, there's a purpose of there na there's hope, you know, you can you can do this, and you're not a bad person, but you just confused, you're just that. And then the Among Five Sinners, yeah, what if you're a sinner and then you think about what you do? You're in this trap elevator and think about whatever very disturbing thing that you did in your life. So, yun yung Among Five Sinners. And also, this is about the reflection of Mio, because he's the main character. He's with this people, three people actually, and another one na, I think pwede ko banggitin, no? I mean, there's
Um,
a decoration.
wag na muna.
Right?
Wag na muna.
Spoiler kasi.
Yeah, it might be by spoilers, but yeah, safe to say that they're all in that elevator, and they have to, how should we say this? They have to deal with their own conscience and the consequences of their actions. Yun lang yung the general
Uh,
overview of that, and I like it. And another thing that I liked and enjoyed is that it's non-linear storytelling, wherein it's not, it will move from one time frame to the other, and I seem to notice it that there is a trend, or if not an appreciation, a rising appreciation for non-linear storytelling. One example is Weapons, the movie Weapons. I don't know if
mm,
you got to see that. I love the non-linear
yes!
storytelling. I thought that it was going to be confusing, but I like it. Another book that I read also was Head by the Ceiling by Anthony Shea, who is going to be in the podcast pretty soon. So, hi, Anthony. Advanced shout out. His book is also nonlinear storytelling, and I like that because as a reader, it keeps you on your toes. It jumpstarts your brain into fixing the puzzle inside your head
Mhm.
while you read it, and you're not dependent on being spoon fed. Oh, here's what's gonna happen
Mhm.
next. Here's the twist. Here's the bad guy, or here's the not so bad guy, or whatever, diba? Or the red herring, as they say.
Parang
So I
interactive din siya eh, di ba?
yes, it is interactive, and I like that. And it's not easy to do nonlinear storytelling because where do you start? Where do you begin? Where's the middle? Diba?
I have to be honest dyan sa Among Five Sinners na it's very accidental to to be written like that. Kasi it's meant to be linear. Kasi, again, like I said, my goal is for them just to stay on the elevator. And then, when I wrote the whole thing, sabi ko, alam mo, sobrang nipis nito. parang, parang na-realize ko na, hindi to, kasi parang it's a part of a challenge then. There's a publisher na nag-send ng challenge na you write every day a chapter and then you finish it in a month. So, and then nasulat ko siya and then na-realize ko na siya sobrang nipis. Parang hindi ako umabot ng month, umabot lang ng 5 days. Tapos na-realize ko na paano ko siya, pero I reread it and then na-realize ko na wala siyang, hindi siya na, parang basta lang siya nangyari. So, binigyan ko siya ng laman. So, ang nangyari sa kanya is, kasi hindi rin siya linear na sulat, sa totoo lang. I wrote something, the whole point, and then, parang I expanded, and then the gaps, I filled the gaps. If you imagine it, parang ganito siya kanipis, and then I expanded, sige, gusto ko ganito kakahaba. And then, of course, there are gaps between. So, I put a story here, and there, and there, and there. It should make sense. So, I think, isa yun sa, accidentally, na-realize ko na, siguro ganito magsulat yung mga, like yung mga ganong concept. Siguro, sinulat na nila yung buo, and then, pag nag-add sila ng mga story sa gitna, it will make sense kasi mag-full circle siya talaga. Kasi nauna siyang masulat eh. Ina-add na lang siya sa gitna. So, yun yung naisip ko. So,
so that's your tip for people who want to write non-linear storytelling. Yes, maybe write it linearly first, and then stretch. It's like baking. Stretch the dough a little bit further, the pizza dough, and then if there are any cracks again, then that's where you put your pepperoni. That's where you put your cheese. That's where you put your jalapeno. So
it should make sense. Parang yung
right.
And also, madali na siyang mag-make sense to think about it kasi I have the ending on my mind. Hindi siya ma-out of place kasi alam ko dapat papunta siya dito eh. So, hindi mo maiisip, hindi ka gaya pag nagsusulat ka ng linear na naisip ko to. What if maganto ko? Alam mo yun, yung nagsanga-sanga ka na wala hindi siya. And then kapag nasa ending ka na hirap ka na mag full circle kasi nagsanga-sanga na siya. Pero ito hindi. You have the path already and then you're just filling the gap. So it would make sense.
So we're sort of like slowly transitioning into to craft questions. When you write, do you automatically know the ending already?
Yes.
Okay.
Yun yung ko, parang kasi award siya sa akin eh. Parang yun yung award system ko na kailangan ko magsulat ng chapter na to kasi excited ako isulat yung ending. So, bago ako magsulat ng story, I think of an ending para ganahan ako magsulat. Parang ganon. So, kapag, you've read Click Balang. So, first kasi it's the concept. It's a fun concept. And then, hindi ko kasi, sa akin kasi as a writer, hindi ko siya itutuloy isulat kapag wala akong maisip na ending. So, it should na complement each other muna. Kailangan magbabangga muna siya bago ko gawin yung laman. Kasi, ang naiisip ko kasi, the ending, it's very important. It will leave a mark sa readers. So, if it's not good, if hindi siya nag-full circle, kapag hindi siya nag-make sense, magkagalit sa'yo yung reader na sinayang mo yung oras ko. Imagine mo, ang ganda-ganda mo gumawa, ang ganda ng nagawa kong body, no? Tapos ang pangit ng ending, parang, it's a betrayal, eh, di ba? And then as a reader, we experience that. We experience a lot of betrayal.
Game of Thrones, are you listening?
Pero, oo.
Season 8. Pwede paki-amend naman.
I'm just thinking ng season 8. Pero siya, inaano ko na lang na there's an ending. Ito yung gusto kong ending and then ito yung pinaka-theme niya. Gusto ko sa ending, ito yung start na theme, ito yung ending ng theme, nagbabangga siya. So yung gitna, meron siyang goal to go for this theme. May mga readers ako na nagsasabi na, ay sana sa Wallace gusto namin ng ganito, sa Click Balang gusto ko ng ganito, gusto ko ng but sinasabi ko kasi yung theme, I'm following the theme kasi hindi ako pwedeng parang ayokong mag-jump out doon sa theme. Hanggat hindi ako magaling doon parang may mga magagaling kasing writer na nami-mix niya yung theme eh. I mean na I mean, ikaw mismo, CJ, di ba? Yung nabasa ko
Uy,
sa Sojourner,
ano ba yun?
may mga mixed theme eh.
Ganun
Yung
ba? Uy, ala, hindi
comment
na ako.
edit,
I'm not aware of my own.
action of it, di ba? Nag-comment din ako eh. Kasi I've read it, so it's really emotional. So sabi ko, hanggat hindi ako ganun, I'm not doing that. I'm not risking it, di ba? So sabi
Mm.
ko, meron akong fina-follow na theme. Sa Clickbalang, I follow a theme, the social media, which I think, if I want to improve it, I should put folklores more. So yeah, that's one. So abangan niyo yung part 2. Part 2.
Yes!
And
Yes!
yeah, so yun, lagi akong nainisip yung ending. The Among Five Sinners, actually nahirapan ako sa ending niyan because paano ba? Gusto ko, kasi mabigat yung story na, the initial title niyan is, ano nga ba yun? Lima kami lahat dito, the Tagalog title. Kasi nasulat ko siya sa
Okay.
Tagalog first.
Mhm.
And then, it's, nakaka-curious siya talaga. And then, yun kasi yung first line niya na, you've read na lima kami lahat dito. And namatawag siya ng tulong kasi lima sila lahat doon. And yet, yung inintroduce kong character is apat lang. So, yun, sabi ko, sobrang bigat nito and I want this to end na nandoon siya. Nag-start siya dito, gusto ko mag-start siya ng higher. So, inisip ko yung ending. Ang dami kong naisip na ending. Doon ako tumagal, honestly. So, gusto ko ganitong ending. Tapos, yan, munti ko mabanggit yung ending. But yeah, ganun yung naging,
I will ask you. I will ask you about the ending. After we're done with the recording, para no
Okay.
spoilers. Just some more. We're close to wrapping up. Just a few more. Quick questions on how you write. Do you have a best place in the house to write, or you prefer writing outside? Some people can do that.
Actually, ito, bago lang to ha, bago kong discovery. Kasi, balik tayo dun sa naka-receive ng award. Iba talaga kapag nagsusulat ka sa best place na pahinga yung isip mo eh. Or sa kung saan ka makakaisip. Kasi, yung naka-receive ng award, nasulat ko siya sa Dumaguete. Na nagbabakasyon ako sa Dumaguete, meron ako doon. Nandun lang ako sa hotel kasi may event din yung pamangkin ko. So, nag-book kami ng hotel for a week. And then, dun ko siya nasulat. And then, makikita mo talaga yung difference na kung saan ako nape-pressure. And then, saan ako nape-pressure magsulat, natapusin to, may number of words. And then, saan ako yung sobrang relax ko lang ng storytelling. So, I would suggest na iba talaga kapag nasa vacation mode yung isip mo. Also, yung Among Five Sinners, I wrote that sa Bicol habang nagbabakasyon kami during November kasi dumalo kami sa puntod ng lolo lola ko. So, I have that November 1. Nag-start ako November 1, natapos ko siya the whole vacation. So, ang dali lang kasi, it's also spooky season na nasa spooky place ka kasi province yun. Syempre, it adds to the story, it adds to the state of your mind how you write and paano mo siya i-deliver. Kasi yung ibang part ng Among Five Sinners is naisip ko during sa bus ride ng late at night. So may mga times na magsa-stop kami sa mga places na sobrang dilim talaga. So parang may ganun. Sometimes when you write a story, you don't necessarily experience the actual thing. Of course, the actual thing. Pero it adds up to the style. It adds up to the way kung paano ka magkwento kapag na-experience mo yung bagay na yon. Also, Among Five Sinners, hindi ko babanggitin yung building but it's in Makati.
I will ask you after. I will ask you after the show. That's my turf.
Siguro yung best place kaya din nag-ano rin ako sa room sa bahay. So parang best place din to write. But yeah, as long as you write very relaxed and then wala kang hinahabol na oras, and that's the best setup ng utak para
setup for you.
For me.
Okay. What's next for you? Are you currently working on anything or rest muna?
Yes, kasi may mga after that win, gusto ko agad sundan yung isang book na I really have this great concept. Of course, I want to stay on the spiritual and then on the very hopeful theme naman this time. So I'm writing and very excited. Actually, ang dami kong work in progress. Nandiyan yung part 2 ng Wallace. Of course, dumagdag yung part 2 ng Clickbalang, part 2 ng Bulalakaw.
Yes.
Ano pa ba? I mean, pupuno ako ng part 2 kasi kada may magbabasa, gusto namin mabasa pa yung part 2 na gusto, we want more of this. So, pangako lang ako ng pangako. But yeah, it will come.
It will, yep.
Pero,
We are gonna be, waiting with bated breath, for that. But while waiting, for those who would want to, know more about you and your work, where can they follow you on social media?
yeah, you can check my website, arnoldsubastil.com. Then, nandun na yung mga socials ko sa YouTube, Arnold Writes, at Arnold Writes sa YouTube, at Arnold Writes sa TikTok. Nagpo-post ako ng reviews din. Also sa page ko, Author Arnold Subastil sa Facebook. So, usually, I post other reviews sa mga books na nababasa ko. And hindi ko naman siya nagagawa everyday. But yeah, I think I'm moving forward naman sa TBR ko.
Okay,
Nasaan ako?
And you are moving well forward with it, with the ones that I see that you're posting. So yeah, hey, I probably should be doing that as well. So they will be part of the show notes, so people can just click and they'll follow there. Just in case you're watching this, you are a creative and you would like to be featured in the podcast, simply email us at urbanfantasyph@gmail.com. And if you would like to get copies of Arnold's books, obviously his website is the best place to go to. And there will be links there on where you can get them as well. So for me personally, you can look up my own website. That's cjedmonds.com. And the link to my Shopee page is shopee.ph/spinebooks. Follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. And we'll keep each other posted with what's going on. So that is a wrap for today. Thank you so much, Arnold. Ang sarap ng kwentuhan. Lumampas tayo sa designated time, but that's okay. It's a podcast. You really have to, it's unavoidable that you will go over time. And I wish you all the best in your creative endeavors. Lahat ng pangako mo para sa part 2, go ako dyan. Abangin namin yan. Because, I got my own part 2s to work on as well. But I know the feeling, and I wish you all your creative best moving forward. So, till the next episode in the Authors Unite, keep creating, and all of us, we will keep reading. Stay safe, stay creative. Namaste, blessed be, and happy Halloween. Bye.
That was another episode of Urban Fantasy PH. Join us next time as we feature another creative soul who wants their art to be seen, heard, and shared. If you have your own work to share, just email us at urbanfantasyph@gmail.com. Till the next episode, this is independent author, singer-songwriter, radio personality, voice actor, and fellow creative, CJ Edmonds, reminding you to always listen to your heart, create with your mind, and share with your soul. Goodbye, everybody. Namaste. Blessed be.